Guys, welcome to JetCast. This is a JetCast recap. I'm Ray, your host. This is Pat Dunn, my co-host. Today we're going to do a recap of the Jets game and see what the outlook going forward this week against the Bears is going to be. What's going on, Pat?
What's going on, Ray? A lot of disappointment. That was one of the worst games I've probably ever seen in my life.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I don't think I've ever seen a game like that ever, to be quite honest with you. To lose like that is heartbreaking. And then after the game, seeing the comments that Zach was making on the post game interviews was really not good. Not good.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. When he had the opportunity to take responsibility for his poor play this past week, he kind of almost passed it up, which I guess we could chalk up to his, he's young, he's a little immature, but let's face it, when you come to the NFL, especially nowadays, you do go through, media training. They teach you how to talk to the media. If you look at the clip before it, he kind of addressed it slightly, but it's almost as if he was becoming more and more frustrated with the media, and he sees where the media is going with these questions. Without a doubt, the defense played lights out as they have been the last few weeks. Another game with +5 sacks. And it's becoming frustrating, and you could see it with some of the body language of the players on the field. There was at one point where you had the left tackle Brown throwing his arms in the air because he knew that there was a home run play potentially to, a 98-plus yard touchdown that Zach seemed to miss.
That was the play to Mims, right?
Yeah, no, it was a play to Garrett Wilson on the goal line. There was another play earlier on.
There's another one.
Mims.
Great.
It doesn't help earlier on. I know a lot of Jet fans are upset with how Mims dropped the ball early on in the game, but unfortunately, from my perspective, I don't feel that it really had that big of an effect on the game. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's hard when you're watching it live, and then now the next day you see everybody going through the all 22 and tweeting out and pointing out all the misses, and you realize how much of this loss is on Zach, and how much was there to be had. And there was many times where there's points just left on the field just because he's getting off of his read, he's looking down at the line, or he's just reading the play incorrectly. I think even Dan Orlovsky had a video where he goes to throw a post to Mims, and he's thinking Mims is actually doing a dig route, and Dan Orlovsky explains it where he doesn't think he even knows the playbook at that point. And immediately after the play, you see Garrett Wilson throw his hands up in frustration. And a lot of guys in the locker room, we were hearing Garrett Wilson very frustrated walking into the locker room after that game, because they know they're seeing where the problem is. They know where the problem is. These guys are in the locker room every day. They're not stupid. They know who's not performing. And to have a defensive effort like that just to get wasted at the end of it, it's got to be hard to take.
Yeah, well, if we go into a deep dive coming into this year, I think it's very fair to say that this year was more about player development, finding out where the holes in this team are, and then filling those holes going into Zach's third year. But fortunately for us, as Vegas had us at 5.5 wins over under for the year, we blew past that in the early half of the year. I think expectations kind of molded as the season has gone on. Sauce Gardner in his rookie year is already a top 3 corner. This defensive line is already a top 5 defensive line. They're 4th in the NFL with 32 sacks. It's clearly an elite defense, and a defense that could, with the right offense to complement it, could make a run in the playoffs. And I think a lot of players know in the NFL, it is a now league. There's no sitting back and waiting for young guys to develop. When you have players like this, Quinnen Williams, who's still on a rookie contract, when you have guys like Alexander, who you pulled off the streets and now he's starting and he's playing well for you, guys like Quincy Williams who aren't being paid, DJ Reed's on a 3-year contract at very serviceable money, and Sauce Gardner on a rookie contract, it's only going to last for so long. They're going to have to make decisions when it comes to guys like Bryce Huff. LaMarcus Joyner's only getting more up there in age. So, the time to strike is when the iron is hot. And unfortunately for Zach, the iron has become hot so fast only in his second year. And unfortunately, as we break down the film and the tape from last year, we're seeing some of the same exact issues
Same
come up
things.
now that we saw last year. Whether it's his footwork, the inability to hit the short pass, and the way he holds onto the ball, because he's not throwing the ball. He only throws the ball when he feels like guys are completely wide open. And that's not how the NFL works. That was a clear touchdown pass to Mims that he missed. And, according to Dan, those are absolutely plays that cannot be missed at the NFL level, that they're considered wide open.
Yeah, they can't be missed. But expectations change. If you had told me at this point in the season we'd be 6-4, I would have been happy. But
Yep.
seeing the way the team is winning and the way the defense is playing, and seeing that the one thing holding them back is Zach, we expected more out of him at this point. We expected a lot more out of him. And a lot of the offense right now, at least when it was clicking beforehand, or even against the Bills game, it's run first, timing routes after that. They are not putting a lot of stuff on Zach's plate to do reads like they were when Flacco was quarterbacking in the beginning of the year, right? Completely different system, almost, where they are putting less on his plate. And unfortunately, when the defenses start clamping down on these routes and you can't get the run game going, you're now going to ask Zach to make these reads. And at this point, he can't do it. And I don't know if he's ever going to be able to do it, unfortunately.
Yeah, we haven't seen the
He has
progress.
all the physical, everybody says this, he's got the physical tools to play the position.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what's between the ears that really matters.
Yeah, without a doubt. If we even that throw over the middle to Conklin, that should have been an easy interception by the
Oh
Patriots.
God.
Conklin
Yeah.
has nobody within a couple of yards of him. Those passes where his base is low, it's wide, he's throwing sidearm when he doesn't need to be.
It's because
We
he's
see,
sped up. He's
yeah,
sped up and he's throwing the ball high because he's not prepared for what the defense is giving him.
without a
He's
doubt.
playing.
And
He's playing like this is his fifth game,
mhm,
not his 20th. And I think
it's
someone
almost a
just tweeted.
regression. That's what
Hmm?
it appears. It appears as he's almost regressing. It's in his
Yeah.
head. Whether it's the Patriots and Bill
Yep.
Belichick, we saw what happened during the first game with those
Yep.
3 atrocious interceptions. It's almost like he's second guessing himself out there. He doesn't want to make that poor play. But if we go even a deeper dive into the stats, the Jets quarterbacks this year, we are dead last in the NFL at 57.2% completion rating. We are third worst in the NFL in QBR. So people can keep saying, "Oh, well, we're not running the ball. The defense, it's playing a lead, but the run game needs to start helping Zach." I mean, there's clearly 5 or 6 plays every game that Zach is not making that should be made,
Wide
and
open,
in
wide
the
open
NFL, you
throws that
have
he
to make those
needs to be
plays.
making. Yeah, wide open throws that he absolutely should be making at this point in his career. I believe someone tweeted, and I forget who this was, that his numbers this was his 20th game, and his numbers are almost identical to Jamarcus Russell's, and
Oh,
that is horrifying
the big
to think
arm.
of it. Yep, horrifying.
Well, we've gone a lot into this game. Let's move forward. We can only complain so much. Whether or not Zach's going to be starting this week, that is up in the air. But
Right?
as the NFL is, once the game's over, you're proud about it. You're happy about it early on Monday, but come Tuesday, we're on to the next game. So now we got the 3-8 Bears. Coming into town this week. We know what they're going to be doing. They're number one in the NFL, 198 yards on the ground per game with Justin Fields. They have one of the worst passing attacks. Mooney is really their biggest threat, just under 500 yards receiving this year. It's going to be a war of attrition, I feel. The defense, I feel, is going to hold the Bears, but the Bears do not have anything that really scares me on defense. When I look at them, their guy that has the most sacks on their team right now has 3 sacks. The Jets have 5 guys with at least 2.5 sacks. Quentin Williams already has 8 sacks. We have 3 guys that have more sacks than their sack leader. So I expect the defense to get after it. I expect to spy maybe Kawan, maybe Quincy Williams, but this offense has to get going, whether it's Zach Wilson or Mike White. I also want to see Mike LaFleur. Listen, they made a conscious decision to bring in a rookie offensive coordinator to develop with a rookie quarterback. Do I think it was the right decision? No. I'd rather have a guy with experience to break in my rookie quarterback. But what's done is done. And, I think that they're going to give Zach the nod this week. I was hoping that maybe, we would see Mike White, but I know a lot of Jet fans out there are saying, oh, we'll give Zach the first half. I completely disagree with that. If you're going to make the change, Mike White needs to be getting all the first team reps in practice. I don't want to put him at a disadvantage saying, okay, well, if Zach has a poor first half, we're going to put Mike White in when the game plan was never developed for him.
No, they can't do that. I think Zach does start. I think this is a wake up call for him. The way Saleh handled that press conference, saying that they're not committing to a starter, but at the end of the day, I think he will start. They have to make this a get right game for the offense as a whole. I'm not that hot on Mike LaFleur on LaFleur right now. To be completely honest, I think he's actually done a pretty good job across the as the season has gone. I think a lot of the blame falls on Zach. I think he's done a pretty good job, with what he's been given. This game should be a get right game. I do expect Zach to play and to have a decent game, just because it is the Bears. Like you said, they're the number one rushing. They have a great rushing attack, but it is all Justin Fields doing that. So
he's only averaging 128 yards passing a game. Unfortunately, our quarterback, we had 2 yards in the second half last week, but this defense is not the Patriots. At the end of the day, the Bears have the 27th ranked defense in the NFL, allowing just under 25 points a game. If Zach Wilson's going to have a bounce back game, this is the team that you want to be playing against, especially with the Jets offense with their struggles that they have right now. There's no excuses.
No excuses this week. This, like I said, get right game. The game plan should be pretty simple for the Bears. As long as they should be able to run the ball just fine, and they just got to get Zach to, he's at this point, he's just got to be a game manager. At this point. This team is structured around the run game. It always has been since the beginning of the season. I know we lost Brees, but that's what this offense's identity is about.
Yeah, well, I'm here to make my final prediction right now, and I think the Jets are going to win 24-10. I think Zach's going to have a bounce-back game. I think LaFleur is going to have a solid game plan, unlike they had. I mean, we came off the bye last week, which is, very infuriating to see that kind of game plan in that play. But I think Zach's going to show up. It's going to be a rough home crowd because every mistake he makes, we know the fans are going to be riding him, but that's New York. You're glorified when you win, and we let you know when you stink. So I think Zach's going to have a bounce-back game. I expect a big game out of James Robinson. I could see them pounding the ball up the middle, which they didn't do much last game. I expect way better than 2.77 inches per play in the second half. But at the end of the day, I see the Jets defense shutting down that Chicago offense, and I could even see, potentially a pick six. Maybe DJ Reed gets a pick six this week. That'd be, let's put that out there. But 24-10 Jets, and that's where I'm at.
24-10. Probably at maybe 21-13 Jets. If they get the run game going, then they'll have more points on offense. But right there, 21-13 is where I'm at.
Yeah, well, that's been our JetCast game recap going into the Bears game this weekend. I'm Ray, Real Sports NY on Twitter. This is my co-host Pat. Pat, you want to give a shout out your at really quick?
Yeah, Real Pat Dunn. Give myself and Ray follows on Twitter, and stay tuned. Subscribe, like the JetCast page. We got a lot more stuff coming for you. Coming to
That's
you.
right. We have a show coming up Wednesday at 7:30 on Twitter Spaces. We may have a couple of guests coming on. You never know who's going to pop in. So I'm sure we'll get further into this game plan going forward into the Jets-Bears game. And I look forward to breaking it down. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by, and see you next week.